everyone, my name is Helena Rother, and having learned 5 languages in school, I know firsthand how hard it is to keep up oral participation with all these different languages and all this other stuff going on. So here are some tips and tricks to help you guys hopefully optimize your language learning and get the best possible grade for oral participation. So let's get started. So my first tip is to learn dates or just long numbers in general. So these are, for instance, 1992 or 19, or just generally long dates, because it makes you sound like you care about the language enough to learn these long dates. So yes, it just shows passion, and it's easy because a lot of times people will stumble over them, so you can raise your hand and be like, I know this date. And I found that it helped me a lot, get better oral participation. So my next tip is to start every sentence you're going to say with a long memorized formula. So for instance, creo que, or je suis d'avis que, or ich bin der Meinung dass, or just these long introductory sentences, because even if your grammar isn't so good afterwards, at least it shows that you took the time to memorize these long introductions, and you can have the extra time to think about what you're actually going to say if you just memorize these introductory words. And they also help a lot with exams because you can write them, and I think generally, or for me at least, it was one of the categories to get graded how well your connections of sentences were and things like that. So it definitely helps a lot. So my next tip, and this one maybe isn't so clear, but it is to memorize just basic knowledge about the culture, because a lot of times when you're learning a language, you're not just learning language, but it's language and culture. So if you know who Victor Hugo is, if you know who Goethe is, if you know who these people are, it shows that you're passionate about the language, and it will definitely help you get better oral participation and improve your chances in that. And I've already made a video to some basic German literature, and yes, so definitely check that out if you want more tips on how to improve your cultural knowledge, which in turn can help you improve your oral participation. So my next tip is to learn basic pronunciations. Now, especially if you're learning your second or third language, no one is expecting you to be perfect at pronunciation in the beginning of learning your language. But just memorizing little details can help you a lot. So for instance, that the N with a wave, how that's pronounced, or how the AI in French is pronounced, or just basic pronunciation can make a huge difference in learning, first of all in learning a language, but also in your class participation, because it shows that you're making an effort. And even, for instance, I have huge problems with rolling the R, but if you make a definite effort, it definitely shows, and it's definitely helpful in your oral participation. So my next tip is just to memorize grammatical patterns. So for instance, if you look at the word prendre in French, which means to take, if you just look at this word and compare it to other words that have the verb in it, for instance, comprendre or apprendre, it's very easy to see that they're conjugated the same, and then you only have to learn how to conjugate one. And a lot of times, if words sound similar, they're generally conjugated quite similarly. So this way you can save yourself the time to look at all the conjugations. So finally, I'd just like to say that obviously, if you follow these tricks, hopefully you can improve your oral participation, but I don't think that they're a complete excuse to just do these. I mean, obviously, what I hope to do is to encourage you to actually learn the language, because this is one of my biggest regrets, is that for a while I was just so busy and I didn't learn the languages properly, and then I had a lot of catching up to do, and it became very stressful. So my last tip is just to keep at it. It can get hard. Some forms seem like you'll never ever use them, and sometimes it just seems pointless, but keep at learning the languages, because when you can converse in them, it will all be worth it. And yes, so that's my last tip. Just keep at it and stay motivated, and I wish you guys all good luck with your future learning. And yes,